available to use. Available to move. Available I am. I'm available to sing me. Available to use. Available to move. Available I am. I'm available to see me. Available to use. Available to go. Available to move. Available to stay. Available I am. Available to be. I'm available to see me.
On this week, for circumstances beyond our control, we will not be having a regularly scheduled live Bible study. So on tonight, we want to look back to last year's church anniversary service and an encouraging word from Dr. John Reed.
There is a word just for a few minutes, and as I tell you all the time, I'm not a long preacher, but I do preach as long as it takes. And so if you help me here, if you get with me and help me, I won't be long. But if you just sit there and look at me, I done got to the point, I don't finish no sermon. I just have to quit, Pastor. Yeah. So if you say amen, I'll soon quit. Amen. But there's a word for us from the gospel according to Luke. And I would that we would notice the 18th chapter. And I want to read just the 35th through the 37th verses. And it came to pass that as he was come nigh unto Jericho, a certain blind man sat by the wayside begging. And hearing the multitude pass by, he asked what it meant. And they told him that Jesus of Nazareth passeth by. And the New Living Translation says it this way. It says, when he heard the noise of a crowd going past, he asked what was happening. And he was told that Jesus from Nazareth was passing by. When he heard the noise of a crowd. I want to talk about today, what is that noise? When he heard the noise of a crowd going past, he asked what was happening. In other words, he asked, what is that noise? A blind man who couldn't see, but he could hear. What is that noise? You know, my brothers and my sisters, we live in a world today that is made up of noise. God gave man the sense of hearing, and he gave it to him as a part of his total biological and spiritual makeup. And you know that that hearing is the act or process of perceiving sounds. And to become aware of sounds means to listen. And I'm sure you would agree with me when I say, if you listen today, you'll hear all kind of noise. The question of what is that noise really grew out of a blind man's frustration, because the synoptic gospels address this event differently, Bible students. If you notice, Matthew's record reveals that Jesus was on the west side of Jericho, destined for Jerusalem. And at the time of his departure, he had counted 2 blind men by the roadside wanting to see. Mark's record revealed that Jesus was on the west side of Jericho, destined for Jerusalem. And during the process of his departure, he encountered a blind man named Bartimaeus by the roadside, requesting eyesight. And then Luke's record reveals that Jesus was on the east side of Jericho, in that he was approaching Jericho on his way into Jericho. And upon approach to the city, he encountered a certain blind man, not as he was leaving Jericho, as Matthew and Mark accounts reveal, but as he was approaching or entering Jericho. Now Matthew's gospel says that there were two blind men. You all gonna help me preach it? Mark and Luke mentions but one. And they do not say, however, listen, they do not say, however, Bible students, that there was no more than one. They mention one because he was probably well known. And as one writer puts it, he says that he was perhaps the son of a distinguished citizen and had been reduced to poverty because of his blindness. And his name was Bartimaeus. That bar means son. And the name Timaeus means the son of Timaeus. And probably Timaeus was a man of distinction, and as the case of his son attracted more attention. Now listen, had Mark and Luke said that there was only one healed, there would have been some contradiction. But as it is, there's no more contradiction or difficulty than there is in the fact that the writer, like all other historians, often omit many facts which they do not choose to record. And so the only thing that I notice here is that there is a synoptic problem of similarities and dissimilarities among these accounts. Now, to be blind, I want to remind you that it's not always a biological indication. For there are many other ways to be blind. There's intellectual blindness. There's economic blindness. There is social blindness. There is political blindness. Well, I could talk about that a while. There is educational blindness. And then there is spiritual blindness. There are all forms of blindness. You don't have to be blind in the eye. You can be blind in the mind. And anybody blind in the mind, that's a kind of blind that's there is ignorance present. Do I have a witness here? And so there's a whole lot of blindness in our world today. There's a whole lot of blindness right in our churches today. And most certainly a whole lot of blindness in our families. Blindness in our nation, blindness in our government. Sure enough blindness in the White House. Blindness. And so Luke revealed here, as I must rush on, Luke reveals that a certain blind man who was a beggar was beside the road begging from travelers. And he had undoubtedly become familiar with the noise because of his lack of eyesight. And God has so designed and God has so equipped the human anatomy that when one sense or member is lost, the other member or senses are automatically enhanced. In other words, if you're blind, you ought to be able to hear better. Do I have a witness here? It's amazing to me how keen and how penetrating the sense of hearing is at the loss of one's eyesight. It's amazing how the loss of eyesight is compensated in the sense of hearing. And many times, the success or the failure of a blind person depends largely upon his ability to interpret and make an accurate response to the noise. In other words, listen to me, the noise becomes his teacher in life. What is that noise? What is that noise, brothers and sisters, is the question of the day. What is that noise? Is the question in our world, a question in our nation. What is that noise? What is that noise? Could it be the noise of just little children laughing and playing? What is that noise? What is that noise? What is that commotion? What's going on around us? Could it be the noise, the protests about child abuse at the border? What is that noise? Could it be noise all of our nation about the immigration problem? What is the noise? Noise from the White House. Every morning I wake up early to see what the noise, Pastor, from the White House. Because the president is tweeting 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And he's always got some noise. Y'all help me preach here. Noise! What is the noise? Noise about mass murders and everything that's happening in our nation right now, all over our nation, and nobody knows where it's going to happen next. Noise. What is that noise? Where is that noise coming from? Why is that noise being made? And what do the noise makers want? And Luke does not leave us unaware of who the noise makers were. For his record reveals that it was a noise of a crowd. And of course, when I talk about the noise of a crowd, this information leads to some more questions. Who was in that crowd? What did they want? Why was the noise so strange? And why was the noise so unfamiliar to the blind man in his keen perception of hearing? Why would he have to question the noise of the crowd? It was the noise of a crowd that was made up of all type of people from all walks of life, from all races, from all creeds, and from all colors. It was a noise of a people, a crowd of people who were frustrated, who were depressed, and who were bitter. It was the noise of a crowd that was made up of people from the 7 mainlands of the world. It was the noise of a crowd that was made up of the young and the middle-aged and the elderly. It was the noise of a crowd that was made up of lonely people. People who do not feel genuinely loved by anybody. It's the noise of a crowd of people who are unemployed and underemployed. Oh, y'all help me preach here. It's a noise of a crowd of people that are angry with the economic and political and social structures of our society. It's a Lord have mercy. Noise. Can you hear it? Am I talking to anybody this morning who can hear what I'm talking about? Preach, Pastor Reed. Noise! Noise of a crowd. Noise of a crowd that have grown fearful of an unknown future. We don't know what's going to happen before the day is over. Do I have a witness? And because of that, many have buried their talents and buried their potentials and buried their aspirations and said, what's the use of going on and giving up and throwing in the towel? Cause some noise. Well, my brothers and sisters, it'll take too long. I got to rush through here. It would take too long, maybe forever, for me to enumerate all who are in that crowd. And so I'll just hasten today to say that all mankind is in that crowd. There's always, and let me tell y'all something, there's always noise in a crowd. You know, I don't get caught up with crowds. No. I don't get caught up with crowds. Crowds don't impress me. You know, find some of everything in a crowd. Crowds are fickle. Do I have a witness here? What? Who's all in that crowd? There's always noise in the crowd. And if you listen, there's always questions being raised in a crowd. But I want to submit to you that you can't listen to all the noise made in a crowd. Those of you who attend church every Sunday, be careful about how you listen to the crowd. You can say amen. I said you got to be careful how you listen to a crowd, because there's a whole lot of things happening in a crowd, and folk talk about everything in a crowd, and folk asking all kind of questions in the crowd. Be careful. We spend a lot of time seeking for knowledge and seeking understanding for some so-called right answers to irrelevant questions. You're going to catch that on the way home. Maybe I should say that again, because somebody didn't get that. I said we spend a lot of time seeking for knowledge and seeking for understanding for so-called right answers to irrelevant questions. Some questions, let me tell y'all something. Some questions are not worthy of our time trying to answer. Am I right? And what I'm trying to say to you today, in some of the time used in finding answers, you'd be used in evaluation of the question. Oh, y'all didn't hear me. I said some of the time used in finding answers should be used in evaluation of the question. But my brothers and sisters, listen to Pastor Reed. You can spend all of your time searching for answers when you first of all ought to see who have the right, accurate questions. Because some questions ain't worth answering. Oh, God, today. Yes. There are some irrelevant questions that come from the noise of a crowd. There are some questions that we ought to take note of, and there are some questions we ought to seek to answer. And this crowd had several questions, which I cannot totally enumerate today. Would take me too long. But I just want to submit 3 questions. And then I'm going to back out of here, Pastor. Just 3 questions, and I'm going to back out of here. The first question that is being raised from the crowd is there any hope? That question needs some answering. Is there any hope? Is there any hope? Is there any hope? we're on the verge here in our nation of everything happening and everything going on, and everything is destructive. Do I have a witness? Nobody knows what's going to happen next. Is there any hope? Is there any hope for the home? Is there any hope for the home? Our homes are dysfunctional. Oh, you don't have to say amen. I know that's right. Let me say it again. I didn't get enough amens. I said our homes are dysfunctional. And whether you agree with me or not, some of y'all sitting here this morning, some of your homes are dysfunctional. Your children don't even know how to say yes ma'am and no ma'am no more. And they children cussing out parents. Y'all talk to me this morning. Cussing out the school teachers and all that kind of stuff going on. Our homes are dysfunctional. And why our homes are dysfunctional? Because there is no Christ in the home. We're taking him out of the home. That's why you have the blood of our children now on the streets. Do I have a witness here? Homes have become modern penal institutions. Do I have a witness? We got crooks and cranks, thieves and robbers. Oh, y'all help me. Can I preach here today? We're raising all of that in our home. Drug addicts and murderers and in our home. Huh? In our homes. Don't you know the home makes up the society? Do I have a witness? And everybody in here is a product of some home. I don't care. You say, well, I never knew my daddy. I never knew my mama. I don't know none of that and all that kind of stuff. You still is a product of a home. Somebody brought you in here. Oh, God, I tell you. Oh. The great question is, still, is there any hope? Because we've got to change things if they're going to be. Listen, if there is any hope, because number one, your home makes up everything. Your church, the schools, your government, am I right? Your community, your society, am I right? Everything. The home. Because the home is the first institution that God created. Do I have a witness? I got to hurry on. Maybe, is there any hope? Maybe hope is on a leave of absence. Maybe hope is on vacation, or maybe hope is in retirement. And so use the words of Paul. There are three things that remain. Paul says faith, hope, and love, which tells me that hope is sandwiched between faith and love. Am I right? And if hope is sandwiched between faith and love, that tells me that hope is here to stay. Do I have a witness here? Which says to me, no matter what's going on, no matter what's transpiring in our world right now, y'all, there is some hope. Anybody in here know there's hope? Psalmist David as well said, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Don't lose hope. Please, y'all, whatever you do, don't lose hope, because there's hope in hoping. When you stop hoping, you'll die. Whoever you are, don't give up hope, for things will get better. Things will change, not only in the by and by, but also in the here and now. Things will change. Things will change. Well, keep on Keep on hoping. Then the second question here is that the crowd had was, is there an agenda for the future? What can we do with ourselves in the midst of these strange and unfamiliar noises? Well, I suggest to you today, yes, that there is an agenda for the future. My brothers and sisters, and I want to say this to all of our young people, that this moment is yours. Do I have a witness here? Did you hear what I said, young people? I said this moment is yours. The only thing about it, you've got to make the best of it. Do I have a witness here? You got to use the time that God has given you in developing your potential. The sky is the limit. Do I have a witness here? And you reach for the sky, and if you fall among the stars, you're still on high ground. We got to be true to ourselves. And if we're true to ourselves, consequently, we'll be true to God and to one another. I remember Hambone saying, years ago, Hambone said, it's better to be what you is than to be what you ain't. Do I have a witness? This is the plight of many of us today in this culture, in this society, striving every day to convince ourselves that we are something that we are not. Am I right? And that we will never be. We major on looking the part instead of being the part. You don't have to try to be nobody else. Be yourself. Come on and talk to me. I need to say it again. You don't have to try to be nobody else. Be yourself. You are somebody. Come on and talk to me. You are somebody. You are God's child. You made in the image of God. God made you just like he wanted to make you. You ought to be happy. You ought to rejoice. You ought to thank God of who you are. Yeah. You ask me, is there an agenda for tomorrow? I tell you that there is an agenda. And I want to tell you where the agenda, who has the agenda. The church has the agenda. Y'all better tell everybody everywhere that you better become a part of the Lord's church. I know what's happening in America today. I know what's going on, and I don't have time to talk about it with even African American, black folk, Negroes, whatever you want to call us. We've stopped going to church. Do I have a witness? I said we have stopped going to church. And we're doing everything else. The devil has taken Sunday away from us. Talk to me. Everything is going on Sunday. Where church folk are out there when they ought to be in church, when children ought to be in Sunday school, or ought to be in Bible study. Come on and talk to me. We out there playing sports, and oh, y'all help me here. The parents are out there with them on Sunday morning. Do I have a witness? That's why they're on their way to hell. Oh God, the church has the agenda for the world. The church has the agenda for America. I don't care what Trump said. The church must guide us. Listen here. The church must guide us through the wilderness of despair. Men ought to look to the church because everything else has failed us. Y'all help me preach here. You just check around you. Everything has failed us but the church. And I know people be talking about what the church is doing, and church ain't doing this, and the church ain't doing that. I come by to tell y'all the church is the best thing God got. If the church ain't doing nothing, sure enough ain't nothing else doing nothing. Everything. Home, as I told you, lost its first love. Schools have become weaker. We have a collapse in the social process. Yeah, it's natural that men must turn to the church. For if you want a sense of direction, you don't get it nowhere but the church. If you, listen, you must turn to the church for your learning in this world of despair. And if the church is the future, is to guide men through the wilderness of despair, it must make men conscious that the Jesus way of life is the only way out. Men must be made to know that all other ways lead further down the valley of despair. Do I have a witness here? Jesus' message to the multitude that thronged about him on the mountain is a message that the church in these times must give to the masses of people who have lost their way. I got to go. The third question, and I'm out of here, that the crowd has. Is there any word from the Lord? Is there any word from the Lord? In this midst of so many strange and unfamiliar noises, my brothers and my sisters, you can wake up now. I'm getting ready to get out of here, y'all. Yeah, but oh Lord, this question is a question of nature. And this question is a question of every living thing. Do I have a witness here? And I'm going to take my seat when I respond to this question. And I want to tell you, that there is a word from the Lord. Do I have a witness here? And that word, y'all, is found here in this text. And the blind man asked, what is that noise? You don't hear me. And somebody answered the question, and their answer to the question was that Jesus from Nazareth is passing by. Do I have a witness here? My old grandmother would say that Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want. Do I have a witness here? Hey, Lord, let me say it like this, y'all, that God, through Jesus Christ, is cosmocratic in his availability to mankind. And all I'm saying is that the God I serve, he's unlimited in his presence. Do I have a witness here? I heard that he's immutable. You don't hear me, which says to me that God is present everywhere at the same time. Do I have a witness here? I've ridden a lot of planes, and I've ridden a lot of buses. I've even ridden on trains, but I never found God on his way anywhere. Do I have a witness here? When I arrive God is already there. Do I have a witness here? And so I have a word to the lost. I have the word to the backslider. I have a word, oh yeah, that Jesus is passing by. Y'all don't hear me. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's passing by. Oh Lord, you better watch. You might miss him. Yeah. He's passing your way. You better take some time. You better haul off and watch for Jesus. Oh yeah. He's passing by. Oh yeah. And he has everything that you're gonna need. Do I have a witness here? Oh yeah. He has medicine in the hem of his garment. All you got to do is just touch. You don't have to touch the garment. Just touch the hem. Oh yeah, hem of his garment. Do I have a witness here? He's coming by. He's got sight for the blind. He's got bread for the hungry. He's got water for the thirsty. Do I have a witness here? He will dry your weeping eyes. He will lift up your bowed down head. He will mend your broken heart. Ain't God able? Ain't God able? Ain't he able? Ain't God able? Ain't God able? Ain't he able? Ain't he able? Ain't he able? Yeah! 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 He will! He will! Won't he make a way? Won't he make a way? Have you tried him? Have you tried him? Yeah! Say yeah! Say yeah! Say yeah! Say yeah! Oh! Yeah! Oh! Yeah! 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 Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right?
Thank you for joining us. If you've been touched by this message and want more information about how you can give your life over to Jesus Christ, email our pastor at pastor@pmgfamily.org. If you'd like to give online, remember that you can always give using the church's website at www.pmgfamily.org. You can give by texting PMG MBC to 77977, or you can give through Cash App by sending a Cash App to PMG Family. Again, we thank you for joining us, and we pray that you have a blessed night.